Hello and welcome to this round 26 NPL Victoria clash between home side Dandenong Thunder and visitors Melbourne Knights here at Dandenong Stadium. My name is Damir Kulash. I will be your commentator for today's must-win clash for the Dandenong Thunder. Survival is at stake here for the home side at Dandenong Stadium. I'll be joined today by former Dandenong Thunder goalkeeper and current North Sunshine Eagles shot stopper Sermon Sadakovsky in the commentary booth. Sermon, predictions for today's game?
3-1 to Dandenong Thunder.
Yes, of course, the Melbourne Knights don't have a whole lot to play for but pride themselves, so it'll be an interesting afternoon of football here, with one side, of course, fighting for their lives and the other one basically completing their last 90 before the off-season. Of course, it's a season that has seen the Melbourne Knights, of course, back on the national stage in terms of their FFA Cup success from a few weeks ago that saw them play out a competitive fixture against Adelaide United a few weeks ago, but as a whole has dipped across the second half of the season. And we're underway here at Dandenong Stadium with Dandenong Thunder kicking off. So I'll run you through the equation for not only the two teams here, as we've already mentioned, but also the ones in the 6 remaining fixtures of today. Of course, the big one at the top of the table is the one at Lakeside Stadium between South Melbourne and Heidelberg United, where Heidelberg must win in order to seal the minor premiership. Anything else, and Avondale's fixture against the Bentley Greens at Kingston Heath Soccer Complex comes into the equation, with Avondale dropping a last-minute, conceding a last-minute goal last week to Heidelberg United. It meant that Heidelberg overtook him in top spot, so Avondale need a win. As we see an early challenge there by Luke Jucic on Nick Mudafari, sees the Dandenong Thunder right back go down, and it'll be a free kick for the Thunder with Giannis Georgopoulos standing over the ball. So if Heidelberg don't win, then Avondale need to basically win their game and ensure that they have a better goal difference than the Burgers. We'll wait for Georgopoulos to take this one. Goes in. We'll go out for a Dandenong Thunder corner kick. Meanwhile, at the other end of the table, Dandenong Thunder win today, no problem for them. They seal a promotion relegation berth. If they don't, and Kingston bettered their result, well, Kingston have sealed it, and that berth and Thunder are relegators. Brandon Barnes takes his corner. Rising highest was Mercer Mehmedi, but he couldn't direct his header goalwards, and it goes out for a goal kick. Good crowd building up here at Dandenong Stadium. Actually, go through the team lineups in just a second with some big news for the Dandenong Thunder in terms of their goalkeeping stocks. See Desic, the former Melbourne Knights man, come away with the ball. Goes back to Sheridan, who pats it up long. And as far as Sewell, Jucic, a bit of pinball there. Sees Dover end up on the ball, but the ball's gone out. So Dandenong Thunder, the goalkeeping situation, to summarise it for you. The first choice, Piers Clark, got sent off last week. Kane Runge, the second choice goalkeeper, came on. However, it's since emerged that Kane Runge did, I believe, attend tribunal midweek, and he did get a 5-week suspension for an incident during the Thunder's home clash against Pascoe Vale a fortnight ago, which remains the Thunder's only home win of the season. See, Whitney plays the ball through. Pardio chases, but that man that has the ball currently between the Thunder sticks is under 20 shot stopper Noah Kalamata. What an occasion to make his senior debut for the youngster. The rest of the Thunder team goes as follows. Nick Mutafari at right back, Keegan Sheridan and Mercer Mehmeti, the centre back, pairing with Christian Carvalho, the left back. In midfield, they've got Giannis Georgopoulos, Anthony Desic, the former Melbourne Knights midfielder, and Dean Peroveskos, as well as Kieran Dover, Dean Piemonte, and the goal machine that is Brandon Barnes up front. On the bench, under 16s goalkeeper Sebastian Stiachi is the backup. Connor Cass, Sevdim Ismaili, Blake Carpenter and Mohamed Faizi round out the bench. For the Melbourne Knights, Hadi Chakadun in goals. Nick Laban, former Dandenong Thunder right back, starts in that position. Ivan Gergic, Corey Sewell, Luke Jurcic round out the back four. Calvin Whitney, Nikola Jurkovic and Lachlan Campbell makes, I believe, his starting debut today in midfield. And also up front, they've got AJ Nia, Adrian Tardio and Caleb Nikolic. Sermon, fortunately. We'll let you think about that one as we stay with play here. But I think if you're Dandenong Thunder, despite the absence of Piers Clark, as long as you've got Brandon Barnes leading your front line, you're always a good chance to come away, not only with a few goals under your name, but also a win in a must-win encounter for the Thunder. We do have an early goal. It's in a game that really pales in insignificance compared to the others, which is the Port Melbourne and Dandenong City game, and Dandenong City have taken an early lead there in the 3rd minute at JL Murphy Reserve. So if they can win that one, it'll be a good way to round off a successful debut season in the victorious top flight for Aiduk. Of course, we will keep you updated with all the progress scores as they come in here. Certainly that Hume Kingston game up at ABD Stadium of important relevance to this fixture. Of course, Dandenong Thunder equation for them is quite simple. A win must do as Piemonte takes a shot, it's deflected. Barnes was off balance when he took it, and it just goes out wide for a harmless goal kick there. The longer, I guess, it stays 0-0, the more hope that does give to Kingston, and of course they'll need that after they themselves could have easily been the driving seat coming into this round, but a 3-1 defeat to Dandenong City at home on Monday night put Thunder in the front foot. Of course, that fixture, if you want to put a caveat on it, it's that Kingston did go down to 10 men in the 6th minute with the sending off of Faisal Sakizada. AJ Nia on the ball here. Peroveskos did well to close him down. The ball's at the feet of Carvalho here. Campbell, misplaced pass. Here's Georgopoulos. Modafari has a bit of room in front of him. Desic finds Georgopoulos. Good flick there. Tadova. Cleared away. Campbell there. Whitney's on the ball. Opens the ball up to Mikolic here. Goes to Tardio. Back to Mikolic. Sorry, that was in fact Whitney who actually tried to search for Mikolic there. I'll run you through the team sheet for Melbourne Knights as well. Barnes, tussle with Sewell, wins out momentarily. Crosses the ball in. Campbell hesitant there, but ultimately got the ball out to Nikola Jurkovic. Here's Whitney, mid-season acquisition from West Australia, formerly of the Perth Glory youth team. Jurcic to Tardio. Sheridan dispossesses him, goes back to Mehmeti. And he'll go long in search of Barnes. expect that to be a reoccurring theme this afternoon, given how much of the season has transpired for Thunder, where they do go long in search of Barnes and those runs that he likes to make off the centre-back shoulder. But Afari pitched not the best today, as you'd expect with the winter season almost coming to an end. We did go through the Melbourne Knights starting 11, but in terms of their substitutions options, they've got Jordan Gifkins, the second choice goalkeeper, Luka Jurkovic, who of course is the younger brother of Knights midfielder Nikola Jurkovic, Anthony Giselle, Felix Sanchez, a very diminutive and creative number 10, and also Mohamed Awad, who scored his first goal for the Melbourne Knights following a mid-season move from New Zealand against the Dandenong Thunder in round 14 as Piemonte takes it in, but no one followed in the ball, and it goes calmly into the hands of Harry Chakarun. Sermon as a goalkeeper, Harry Chakarun, one of the best young shot stoppers in Victorian football, you could say.
Yeah, I personally believe so. He's been very unlucky with a few injuries, to be honest. But when he's fit, he's probably one of the best young goalkeepers in the NPL, to be honest.
And given the Thunder's goalkeeping situations themselves, Kalamata, what an occasion to make your debut. I mean, as a youngster, I guess, you know, it's normal to have quite a few nerves, but how do you think he'll go in that role today, particularly given that, you know, last year coming into the season, round 1, you were placed in quite a similar situation in the round 1 game against Bentley Greens when Fraser McLaren got sent off?
I personally believe so. He'll be a bit nervous starting off, but get a few shots on him and does some good saves, his confidence will grow into the game, I believe so, and hopefully he just has a good game.
So I'm sure Thunder fans will ditto those sentiments. As I had mentioned before, Thunder have only won one game at home this season, and it was an all-important one a couple of weeks ago against Pascoe-Val. And what was a game really that got a bit heated at certain instances there, and Pascoe-Val did actually have 2 goals disallowed. What were your thoughts on that one?
I believe Paco were very unlucky to have 2 goals disallowed by the linesman, I believe so. And I think the second one that went in was a handball. The ref didn't see it, but the lino did see it. I guess they were just very unlucky. It just wasn't their night, and then they'll capitalise on their chances. And 3 points they had to get.
Of course, and put Pascoe-Val on the back foot when it comes to the relegation picture. They need both Dandenong Thunder and Kingston to lose today and themselves to win, and basically up their goal difference to essentially ensure survival. It looks quite bleak for them. That 2-1 defeat to Thunder a couple of weeks back, and also last week, heartbreaking circumstances for them to lose 2-1 at home, and a last-minute winner for the Oakley Cannons by Goran Zordic, condemning the Rams to a defeat as Dover gets played in here. Dover on the half volley, straight into the back of Grgic, and Campbell will clear. Campbell is starting at right back, contrary to what I earlier suggested, where I said that Nick Lovan would. He's actually starting in the centre of midfield. Ball goes to Whitney. Finds Mikuliccia on the left-hand side, right in front of the Knights bench. He's 1v1v Mudafari. Cuts inside. Tries to play the ball through to Tardio, but Sheridan is first to it. He's read this well, the big central defender. To Dover. It's broken out here to Piemonte. Piemonte looks to play Barnes, but they weren't in the same wavelength, the 2 Dandenong Thunder attackers. And I think Dean Piemonte, he hasn't scored often since making the mid-season switch from city rivals Dandenong City, but if he can score today, he'll definitely put himself into Thunder folklore, particularly if it is the goal that ultimately sees them survive. Dispossessed here, Jurkovic. He's Dover. He plays Barnes. Brandon Barnes shoots over the bar. just had too much power on that one and not enough direction as well to trouble Chuckleton in the Knights' goal. Jurkovic with a bit of space on here, goes out wide to Campbell. Jurkovic being given plenty of time by the Thunder defence, goes in search of Mikulic. It's up here against Mutafari, who's done really well there to win the ball back and move the ball forward, goes in search of Barnes. It's a good ball to Brandon Barnes. He's a good chance, but he's offside, and Chuckleton got his foot to it. Had it not been offside, it would have been an impressive save from the Knights shot stopper there.
Harry, take it, don't cross up.
Forrest Duel has been a fantastic addition to the Knights dressing room this campaign from the Bulleen Lions. We do have a progress score from Lakeside Stadium, and it's Heidelberg United who have taken an all-important lead there in the 15th minute in that big game against rivals South Melbourne. The score remains the same. Heidelberg have clinched, if you want to call it the minor premiership, the premiership. Of course, it is a first past the post system, and then we've got the finals, so I'm sure they'd be delighted with that. But it does sometimes feel like that the grand final is the all-important one. Of course, Heidelberg have been no stranger to success over the last few years. We see Dover here, puts the cross in to Desic, deflected. Desic again, Jurkovic a bit heavy-handed, but he was within the realms of legality there. Dover again. Slice clearance by Campbell, and we do also have some big news from ABD Stadium where Kingston City have taken the lead, and the progress ladder means that they now occupy that promotion relegation spot, and Dandenong Thunder sits 13th on the standings in that automatic relegation berth there. You see a corner taken in by Piemonte. Will come back out to him after a Knights defensive header. Piemonte, Chuckleton gets a strong arm to it. Some pleads from Knights players for a free kick. Jurkovic just sees the ball go out for a goal kick there as Desic chased. I think there was some penalty shouts there from Dandenong Thunder supporters for Jurkovic's heavy-handedness, you could say, on Desic, but I do think that it wasn't sufficient enough to warrant a penalty. Of course, you generally know what you get from Nikola Jurkovic. He is a player that does like to get stuck in right into your face and make it difficult for you. Another progress score sees Oakley take the lead against Green Gully, and that result will mean that Oakley will move to third in what's been a remarkable rise for the Cannons. They started very slowly. I think they were in the relegation zone for much of the first 8 or so rounds of the season. Piemonte shoots. Again, not the best clearance there by Gigic. Jurkovic with a much better one himself. Sheridan, strong defensive header. Dover. Again, appear to be in impacted a bit by a nudge from Vukovic, but nothing, says the referee. Whitney now seemed to lose his footing there, despite Knights coaching staff believing he was pushed. Cavallo out here to Desic. Wouldn't it be something if he can score against his former club? Cavallo goes back to Desic. It's a looping cross, but it won't trouble the Knights there as it goes out for a goal kick. And what a big goal that is for Kingston City. We'll look to update you not only with the goals, but also the goal scorers in each of those respective clashes. But whoever it is for Kingston City, that is a goal of some significance.
Do you reckon Kingston can break Daniel Thunder hearts again? Which happened a couple seasons ago in NPL 2, the relegation battle.
Yeah, to correct you, the promotion battle back in 2016, that was quite epic from for all concerned really, because the Thunder did their job, did their part in terms of winning their final round game against the Springvale White Eagles. Kingston City appeared to be edging onto a 1-0 defeat up until Damien Iconis' 96-minute equaliser ensured that those that had gathered into the centre circle, all ready to celebrate Thunder promotion, were kept quiet, and that it was to be the men from the Grange Reserve that were winning. But here's Barnes. Barnes puts Dandenong Thunder ahead. What a timely goal for the hosts. And who else but Brandon Barnes? It's a great ball played into him. There was some appeals for a penalty, with the ball appearing to strike Corey Sewell's arms, but Brandon Barnes ensured that whatever it was, that his side will take the lead there. An important lead, because as that goal went in, Kingston had also scored a second, so that goal means that they go back into the relegation spot despite them doubling their advantage, and the Thunder reoccupy that promotion relegation place there. So it'll be interesting to see how the Knights recover from that one. Well, Sermon, I guess, come of the hour, come of the man, Brandon Barnes, proving yet again why he's one of the best in the business. I mean, where would the Dandenong Thunder be if it was not for this man?
Probably at the bottom. I don't want to sound too harsh, but it's not a one-man team, but he does get good service. And you give him half a chance in the box, he'll take it. And that's what he did.
Yes, of course, Brandon Barnes continues his fantastic form for the season. I guess you said, you don't want to be too harsh. You don't want to suggest they're a one-man team, but if there's any team in the NPL that comes closest to being a one-man team, Piemonte takes a shot on the turn there. I guess you can say if there's any team that comes closest to being a one-man team as possible, it's probably Dandenong Thunder, given their reliance on Brandon Barnes' goals. But then again, if you do have a player of that superior quality in the front third, you might as well utilise him to his maximum potential. You can see the Thunder supporters getting stuck into Harry Chakarun as he takes that goal kick. Strong defensive header by Sheridan. Yurchich gets to it first, and it's going to be a nice throw-in. Glavan. Didn't see him at his best here at Daplin Stadium, primarily because he did suffer a season-ending ACL injury halfway through last season. After having some injury problems at the beginning of the campaign, once recovered, he did make that switch mid-season to the Melbourne Knights. So, of course, who we did play for back in 2016, as well, prior to a move to the Bentley Greens in 2017. So despite Kingston being 2-0 ahead, that all appears to be in vain as we see Nick Mutafari put the ball into the box and does come off Georgopoulos, but it just loops over. Do have a red card to tell you about in that fixture between the Oakley Cannons and Green Gully, and it's Green Gully who have been sent to 10 men. So that, you'd imagine, will only make it easier for the Oakley Cannons to get to 3 points and hopefully, for their case, secure a home final for next week. And it's the Cannons who have really been a swarm team in the competition, given their poor start to the campaign. But it's something that we did see a bit of last year as well, with a disappointing start for the Cannons, resulting in the dismissal of Tom Tangalakis and Peter Salakis from the coaching dugout. Chris Taylor was installed as coach, and they made it within a few kicks away of the grand final after a semi-final defeat on penalties to the eventual champions Heidelberg. Set-piece opportunity here for the Knights. It's Mikulic who delivers the ball in, and the header from Grgic goes wide. Given the Thunder have taken the lead, they like to hold on to it, and allowing your man a free header in the box isn't the best way to go about business. But I'm sure, as you mentioned earlier, Kalamata would be quite happy with the start that he's made to the game, given that he hasn't had a lot to do. So he would be, you'd imagine, growing in confidence as we see Kingston take a 3-0 lead up at ABD Stadium. They themselves know that only the Thunder dropping points here today can ensure their momentary survival and a place in the promotion relegation playoff in a few weeks' time against the third best team from NPL 2. Goes into the box here. Well defended by the Knights. Whitney looks to play in Tardio. He's given him one to chase, and it's not really going to happen like that for the visitors. But I guess if you are the home side, it is 1-0. You want to give yourself the security of maybe a bit of a margin between yourselves and your opponents, just so you're not living nervously towards the end of the game. As we see Tardio chase this one, he'll do well to prevent it out from being a corner kick. And Kingston have made it 4-0 in the 26 minutes, so it's raining goals up at ABD Stadium, but it's all for the visitors, who are making light work of their more highly fancied opponents, who I do imagine will be resting quite a few players in preparation for that FA Cup tie away to Adelaide Olympic to come midweek. Ball finds Tardio, but he's offside. Kalamata with the long kick up forward. Jurkovic got his arms into the back of Dover, and referee Michael Marmus saw it. Be a Good set piece opportunity here for the Melbourne Knight, for Dandenong Thunder to extend their lead. Piemonte swings it in, but Chakadun well collected there. He goes to Sewell. Sewell goes long in search of Tardio, but he hesitated a bit and then goes safely into the arms of Kalamata, with Sheridan doing the shepherding to ensure that Tardio wouldn't get anywhere near it. Bit of a heavy touch. Allows Piemonte to get back in possession. Jurkovic tries to claim that one despite it clearly coming off his foot. Georgopoulos to Dover. Dover v. Jurcic. Here's Georgopoulos. But he's lost it. It's going to be a Melbourne Knights throw in right in front of us here. Whitney looked to be fouled, and he was there by Georgopoulos. So it'll give the Knights their own set piece opportunity here. Whitney swings it in. Well headed away by Dover. Here's Piemonte. Looked to be fouled there late on by Whitney. He was indeed, and it might be a yellow card to the Melbourne Knights midfielder here. Or is it going to be, it's just going to be a stern talking to by referee Marmis. Barnes wasn't going to get to that ball, so bit of a needless foul there by Whitney.
I think Dandenong Thunder want to really be careful giving away silly fouls around dangerous areas, because Melbourne Knights do have a few tall timbers, and it could be very dangerous set pieces. And we have an update here, and there was 2-0 up against Bentleigh Greens as well. Damian, what do you think is going on at Bentleigh Greens? They haven't really performed pretty well after their coach went to Western United.
Yeah, I guess the departure of John Anastasiadis is always going to be a big one, given not only how well credentialed of a coach he is in terms of what he's been able to achieve at Kingston Heath Soccer Complex, but also in terms of such a changing of the guard, given how long he'd been at the club. And I guess they were expecting more of the same with this long-time assistant John Gabrielson taking over. Results were quite inconsistent. They departed company with him, and since then their results have actually gotten worse. So Frank McGralis, I understand, is the stand-in coach. He is the club's technical director. I do believe, from what I've been told, that come finals time they will have a new coach. What the effectiveness of that will be, I'm not too sure. Whether their season at this stage appears to be a bit of a write-off in terms of gunning for championship honours, but as a whole, they just haven't really performed since Anastasiadis has departed. You see Piemonte looked to have slipped over the ball, still keeps the ball at his feet, looks to play in Barnes. His shot deflected. An important block there by the Knights defender. As we see Jurkovic come away with the ball, and he's been dispossessed by Modafari. He didn't have too many options going for him, probably held on to it for a bit too long there. Piemonte plays in Dover. Dover needs a good cross. Looks to find Desic. Just a bit too overhit, but importantly for Thunder, they've still got possession here through Carvalho. Goes to Georgopoulos. Done well to hold off his marker and keep the ball. And he wins a corner by kicking the ball into the It's going to be Dover to take this one. Barnes. Chakarun saved it just, and ultimately it was cleared away for another Thunder corner kick. But if there's one player you don't want to be giving that space and time to in the box, it's Brandon Barnes, and the Knights almost got punished there. Dover again. Barnes once more gets on the end of that one. Piemonte didn't connect properly, and Barnes a bit frustrated with that one because he was free and open on the right hand side. Could have been offside had the ball been played to him, we're not too sure.
So who do you reckon Bentley Green's new coach would be comes final time?
Well, look, there's been some talks on the forums that it could be someone like Scott Miller. I understand Scott Miller has signed a contract extension with Lang Warren. Another name that has been mentioned regularly has been Nick Tolios, the Kingston City coach. Obviously, if Kingston do come out of today's encounters in 12th position, that won't be the case because they'll have a promotion relegation battle to prepare for. But as things stand, you know, who knows, by the end of next week or by the start of this coming week, we might even see Nick Tolios in green. But that's according to the rumours. Who's actually been talked to is something that we've been yet to confirm. But you know, if you played under both those coaches, and while you know with Scott Miller it doesn't appear to be the case that he is staying at Lang Warren, who do you think would be better suited in a world where both of them are more available? Who would be better suited to taking over, Ben?
Well, given Scott Miller's experience, I'd probably say Scott Miller, but unfortunately he's already re-signed Lang Warren, which is good for Lang Warren. Credit to them. They got in there early and just re-signed him quickly before any other club approached him. But then again, Nick Tolios and Scott Miller are probably two similar coaches that they are good play management as well. And I'd be very, very excited if Nick Tolios took the Bentley job. He deserves it, to be honest.
Yeah, he's done a lot of great work at Kingston City in terms of them punching above their weight. You know, you've got to say that given the size of the club and also how much resources they have in terms of, you know, this financial aspect of it and player wages, that they've done well to not only get promoted to NPL but stay there for 3 seasons, and who knows, maybe even a bit more if the results do go their way today. It's looking unlikely at the moment with Dandenong Thunder holding this lead, but I guess if at any time the Knights do manage to get themselves level, it puts Kingston in an advantageous position because they've really done their business. I know it's half an hour gone up at ABD Stadium, but you can't imagine them letting a full goal lead slip as we see Dover almost played through Georgopoulos. He was fouled there by Girgic, and it's going to be another good set-piece opportunity there for Dandenong Thunder. Assistant slash goalkeeping coach Jordan Franken giving a few instructions to Keegan Sheridan in defence, as well as Dean Beravescos.
And Christian Cavallo has been very, very deadly with free kicks this season. So who are going to take it, Barnes or Christian Cavallo?
Sure, Barnes is going to want to claim it, given the fact that he'd probably have a lot of adrenaline pumping through his veins at the moment, given that he did give the Thunder the lead. But Carvalho's not a bad alternative if he does take it, particularly that really quality equaliser against Pascal Vale. Carvalho! And what a fantastic save that is from Hari Chakudun to deny Dandenong Thunder from doubling their advantage. Well taken free kick. It was really well placed, but just didn't have enough power there to beat Chakudun's outstretched arm. Fantastic save by the Knights goalkeeper. But they're not out of danger yet, the Knights, because Dean Piemonte is about to take this corner kick. Goes in long, Chakaron got a strong fist to it. We'll go out for a throw in on the other side. Right in front of the tunnel there. That Christian Carvalho will take. As Mercer Mehmedi goes back to provide some cover for Sheridan and Modafari. Hospital throw, but it's come out pretty well for Dandenong Thunder. Good to just slice clearance. Only as far as Modafari. Dover! He's hit the post! Piemonte! Oh, what a miss! What a miss! Not sure if he lost his footing there or what. I think it just might have been a miss kick by the former Oakley Cannons attacker. And just when it seemed easier for the Dandenong Thunder to score than to miss, they butchered that opportunity, and will it come back to haunt him? Dover did all the good work, as we see Jurkovic fouled there, but Dover did all the good work. Unlucky for him that it ended up rebounding off the post. Both Piemonte and Georgopoulos were going towards it. They might have eventually ended up getting in each other's way, but definitely appeared that Dan Piemonte was in the had the front footing there, and he just sliced his shot, or mishit it really, and ultimately couldn't get the connection on it. It's a bit of an air hit there from one of the most experienced campaigners in Victorian football. We see here Sheridan to Georgopoulos, but his attempted pass to Dover won't be troubling the Knights. That could really be a game changer, Sermon. Seemed, as I said, harder to miss that one than to score it, but Dandenong Thunder sometimes do make life hard for themselves by not taking their opportunity.
Yeah, they definitely do, and this season's been one of those seasons that they haven't really taken their chances and missed some easy chances as well, and conceded some silly goals. As you see, Dean Piemonte, and great interception about Corisul, and great tackle.
Nia on the ball, he's got a bit of space now. AJ Nia comes across a brick wall there, and Nick Modafari as Georgopoulos mops up. Yeah, well, you know, a classic example of what you're talking about is a game about a couple of months ago against Kingston City where they had the ascendancy, they had the opportunities, and they ended up losing 2-0, as we see a shot there by Beravesco safely into the arms of Chakaron, who had to dive low for that one. But that's one classic opportunity, classic example from this season of a clash that in the end is quite significant, because had Kingston not gotten the 3 points that night and had it been Thunder, well, this game might have actually been quite insignificant in the grand scheme of things had that been the case. And the Thunder would have already been on holidays, but as you've said, they do like making life hard for themselves sometimes.
Sometimes.
Piemonte plays in Barnes. It's a race between him and Chakaron, but Chakaron was in pole position and he got there first quite comfortably. Sewell, Enia, bad pass, but Sewell manages to retrieve it. I think actually a bit harsh. It wasn't the worst pass by Enia. Ultimately held up. Mikulic to Jurcic. Jurcic with the cross. Whitney's attacking it off a Thunder defender. Enia, Glavan, Campbell. Lachlan Campbell with the cross. Modafari only got as far away as Jurcic took a bit of a deflection. But that took the pace off it and safely into the arms of Kalamata. Dover looks in search of Barnes. Well defended by Girgic. Not only got his head to the ball, but also managed to find Sewell, who himself finds Jurkovic. Inia hesitated, and he hasn't been able to get himself into the contest. Very exciting winger from the Knights, who emerged last season. He probably hasn't seen as much game time as he did last year under Alyosha Asanovic. And the ball here, one head. It'll be a Knights throw in. Sewell finds Glavan. And Georgopoulos dispossesses him, and it's broken here to Brandon Barnes. Barnes looks for a return pass to Georgopoulos. Couldn't find him. Campbell lets in Barnes. Fierce shot. Could have fumbled it, but had enough time and space to ultimately pick it up. Jurcic to Inia. Inia with the shot. Took a touch off the defender, which slowed it down, and into the path of Modafari goes. So Sheridan it was, in fact. And Sheridan has played Dover here. Dover up against Sewell. Dover. Campbell. Chested away. Here's Birabeskos. Barnes. 2-0 Thunder. Not offside. And Thunder's main man has given him a 2-goal cushion, and that, right on the stroke of half-time, might just beat that. 1 minute of stoppage time to be added on. But Thunder's main man has come up trumps once more. And Paskova, Kingston's 4-0 lead might just be worth nothing in the end. Paskova, who I guess you can say are mathematically out of it now, really, have taken a 1-0 lead themselves against the Altona Magic. But Brandon Barnes, coming to man, coming to the hour for the Dandenong Thunder. What a first half he's had. And Sermon, I just wanted to ask you, you've followed Dandenong Thunder since you were a young kid. You've seen many great strikers pile their trade here at what was George Andrews Reserve. Where does Brandon Barnes rank when it comes to comparing him with someone like Luke Sherburn, as referee Michael Marmot blows the halftime?
I think he's personally one of the best strikers Danny Thunder's ever had. Apart from Billy Wright, he was good as well. And well, he scored over 100 goals in 4 seasons in NPL, so you can't ask for much more.
You really can't. He's been the Thunder's main man over a number of seasons now, and if he's the one to save him from relegation, it's hardly surprising given the quality that he has up front. And I think that, when it comes to the off-season, if the Thunder do ultimately secure their top-flight status, they'll be moving earth and rock, really, to ensure that he recommits to this club, as we see Dandenong City also take a 2-0 lead away at Port Melbourne Sharks. But we'll pause here for a bit of a halftime interval, and we'll see you on the other side of this halftime break. Welcome back here to Dackland Stadium for the second half of this round 26 NPL Victoria clash between Dandenong Thunder and the Melbourne Knights. And heading into the second interval, we see we see Dandenong Thunder commanding quite a comfortable 2-0 lead thanks to two first half strikes from their main man, Brandon Barnes. So as things stand, the Thunder look safe for another few weeks up until that promotion relegation playoff. Remember, if they do drop the ball and if they do end up losing this lead, Kingston City, given their 4-0 lead up at ABD Stadium, are going to be the beneficiaries and are going to commend Dandenong Thunder or condemn him onto a 13th-place spot, which means automatic relegation. But as it stands, it's Kingston who will be joining Pascoe in NPL 2 next year. Half-time's change for Dandenong Thunder sees the man who's on the ball now, Felix Sanchez, coming on for Calvin Whitney. Inia puts the ball in. Kalamata spilled it. Got an important touch away. Hearts and mouths moments there for the youngster, but ultimately nothing came of his calamitous error there. Of course, going to be tough 45 minutes to come for him. He's done quite well so far. Not that he's had to face too much pressure from the Melbourne Knights, but there does seem to be a bit of spark from the Knights coming as we see Tardio on the ball, and Kalamata will safely claim it up. Jordan Franken, the assistant coach at Thunder's not happy, telling his side to switch on. Thinks they've let themselves go a bit. Don't want to pop open the celebratory corks for too soon. Campbell, 1-2 with Jurkovic. Then to Glavan. Glavan's done well to find Inia. Inia's got a bit of space. He's also got Campbell in support. Campbell is offside. A bit lazy there, and he gets into a bit of a tussle there with Cavallo. Nothing more.
Great start for the Melbourne Knights. I think they might have copped a bit of a spray by their coach at half-time. They've started like a house on fire at least 2 minutes, creating a few chances, and Noah spilling the ball there.
Yeah, thankfully for Thunder, it didn't amount to anything. But, yeah, while the Knights have started the second half strongly, the Thunder have appeared quite lax in their approach. But, yes, it does appear that the Knights did get a bit of a half-time relicking from their coaching staff, who must not have been happy with the effort put in the first half, because while they were trying, it just didn't seem like that they were producing when it came to having that bit of quality to not only create chances but to do something from it, as we see Inia pleading for a foul there, not given. They do have still Mohamed Awad on the bench, and if they put him on, he's someone who can really cause the Thunder defence a lot of problems, as he did in that round 13 fixture where the Thunder did lead 3-1. They were in a very comfortable position that night, only to concede twice late on and draw that one 3-all. Kalamata goes long. Campbell gets his head to it. Beravescos. Bit of pinball here. Piemonte to Dover. Looks in search of Barnes. Tries to get past Sewell, but Sewell did well there. And Jurcic clears it away. Finds Inia. Up against Cavallo. And Cavallo, his defensive work is excellent. I've watched him a few times this year. And while the Thunder have generally conceded quite a lot of goals, I think Christian Cavallo has been a shining light in a Thunder defence that has at times bled too many goals. Progress score from Paisley Park Soccer Complex sees Pascoval lead Altona Magic 2-0. Not much use for them now as things stand with both Dandenong Thunder and Kingston holding advantageous leads that are highly unlikely for both of them to not win today. Inia does well, opens up to Sanchez here. Sanchez tried to find Tadio, couldn't. Inia 2-1. The Knights have a goal back and they've given Kingston hope. Sloppy start to the second half from the Thunder and they've been punished there. It's great work from Inia. Found the youngster Sanchez, who immediately creates an impact. Couldn't exactly get it to Tadio, but the ball spilled out to Inia, who buries it as we see the Thunder make their first change of the afternoon with Blake Carpenter coming on for Dean Piemonte. And the home side will definitely be living a bit more nervously now.
Looks like the spray by the coach at half-time actually worked because they've started like a house on fire these 6 minutes, and great finish there by AJ, giving Noah no chance. Down low to his left.
Yeah, so often you see ball present themselves to the attacker in that sort of position and he fluffs the shot, but Inia was very composed with his finish there and halves the deficit there. But will it be a big wake-up call that the Thunder perhaps need? Not to let their guard down. It is 2-0, but they often do say that 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football. Don't want to get too complacent as the ball's run out here as Jurcic chested it to control the ball. But I guess that's always going to be the case. We really, from a neutral perspective, you really want a grandstand finish and want the game to be in balance as long as possible because then the other results come into play. And Kingston have, you've got to say, done their part up at ABD Stadium so they can really just sort of consolidate their lead in the second half and ensure that Hume City don't get a few goals back while listening into the progress scores here at Dackland Stadium. But the Melbourne Knights have definitely given them a bit of hope. And I guess, as I said, from a neutral point of view, that's exactly what you want to see. The game go right down to the wires. Inia goes 1v1 Mehmeti, but Mehmeti ultimately won out because he got himself first to the ball. Cavallo to Desic. Tried to find Dovar, but Sewell well defended. And Jurcic did really well there to strip Dover off the ball. Goes to Jurkovic. But his pass is intercepted by Georgopoulos. Thankfully for him, Sewell was in support to retrieve the ball back. Jurkovic to Mikulic. Crossfield ball, not the best. Cavallo to Carpenter. Now Barnes. He's got a bit of space up against Grgic. Goes to Dover. Dover himself has a bit of space ahead of him with Sewell, the man defending, and he's done well there to cut the attempted through ball out. Bit of a flashpoint there. Must say I did not see what happened, so cannot comment on it as we see Barnes do a bit of defensive work there, leading by example. But it's been to and from here in the last few minutes with both sides giving the ball away and both defenses been quite solid, but that wasn't solid from Mehmeti and Sanchez. I think he was caught in two minds there, whether to play in Tadio or attempt to chip Kalamata. Mikulic, haven't seen too much of him today. He's definitely a player that can make an impact, particularly when he still might be quite young, but when you look at some of the ages of a lot of these Knights players, particularly, guys like Campbell, Tadio, Inia, and Sanchez, and when you look at Mikulic's own experience, you've got to say, he's one player that needs to be stepping up, as does someone like Nick Lavan and also Jurkovic. They're still quite young themselves, but they've got plenty of football under their belt compared to some of their teammates. Campbell. Goes back to Grgic. Here's Jurkovic to Jurcic. Fouled there by Jurkovic on Georgopoulos. He will escape the referee's raft there. Here's one player that does play on the edge, you've got to say a bit. Sometimes that does come back to bite him because if you were to look at the disciplinary records over the last few seasons in terms of yellow and red card counts, I'm sure Nikola Jurkovic would be up there. But he's probably one of the most loved supporters by players by the supporters. And here's Mikulic, and Kalamata did really well there to parry. Had he not done so, could have been in a lot of trouble there, the Knights shot stopper, but he showed experience beyond his tender years there in coming out and ultimately clearing the ball away out of danger as Jurcic stands over the ball right in front of that tunnel. Ball comes in. Half-hearted appeals for a penalty there. Jurcic to Mikulic. Georgopoulos clears it out, finds Barnes. Jurkovic pounced on a bit of a heavy touch there from the Englishman. Back to Georgopoulos. He'll go back to his goalkeeper. That's a nice confident kick from the youngster. In search of Carpenter, and it'll be a fun to throw because Whitney got the final touch. See Dover on the ball, up against his best mate Nick Lovan there. Just repeating the substitutions that both sides have on offer, the outfielders at least. Thunder, they've got Connor Cass, Sevdim Ismaili and Mohamed Faizi. Two subs left as we see Barnes playing Carpenter. Carpenter needs support here. Should go back to Barnes, and he does. Barnes goes looking for Desic, but it was well defended by the Knights. Inia looks to get past Carvalho. Might have fouled him there. No. Not that it matters because Carvalho did well to get it back to Sheridan. Sheridan looks at Barnes. Little flick to Carpenter, who replicates it. And Barnes attempted cross, diverted away for a corner by Grgic. For the Melbourne Knights, they've already replaced Whitney with Sanchez. They've still got Luka Jurkovic, the younger brother of Nikola, on the bench, as well as two more senior players in Anthony Drizel and Mohamed Awad. It's going to be Dover to take the corner. Well defended. Strong defensive header there by Grgic. And Beroveskos and Dover not on the same wavelength there. It's going to be a nice throw in. Glavan on the ball to Mikulic. Mikulic. Great play by him. Finds Jurcic. Take two for Jurcic. Here's Glavan. Leaves it for Jurkovic. They've got numbers in the box, Knights. But Jurkovic goes back because while they did have numbers themselves, so did Thunder. Glavan finds Mikulic. Mikulic has Campbell here. And that It's not his finest effort, Campbell. Just took his eye off the ball and failed to control it there. And it's heaped a bit of pressure off the Thunder defence. Cavallo does well to get the ball back. No foul. Inia. Here's Sanchez. But Georgopoulos got to it first. Cavallo goes to Barnes. He's found him. Brandon Barnes beats the offside trap. Brandon Barnes for the hat-trick. He scores. And he is proving to be Dandenong Thunder's saviour today. It's a fantastic ball by Christian Cavallo. Barnes beat the offside trap. And could that be the goal that guarantees Dandenong Thunder's safety for at least a few more weeks?
Oh, wow. What a finish by Barnes. First 15 yards, I reckon there's no defender that could keep up with him. It was a great finish near post there. And, what can you say? Great left foot, great finish. Took his chances. He's had 3 shots and 3 goals.
Well, he's definitely one of the best in the business when it comes to making those darting runs off the shoulder of the defence. And he once again proved it there, beating the offside trap. Well, I think every off-season is a bit of a battle to secure his services. Can definitely say that Dandenong Thunder, ensure if they are to ensure their top flight survival, they're definitely in a more favourable position to retain his services than they would be if they were to be relegated into NPL 2. And at the moment, it's not looking like that is going to be the case. And really, just if you're the Melbourne Knights, it was really disappointing for them that just a minute or so before that goal, they had a good opportunity themselves because Mikolic did a lot of good work, broke out to Jurcic. Jurcic ultimately found Jurkovic in the centre, and they weren't able to create anything of it. And when the ball eventually found its way onto the feet, over to the feet of Lachlan Campbell, he wasn't able to keep hold of the ball, and they lost possession there. So we see Inia on the ball. Dover. One more you'd think would basically seal it for Dandenong Thunder. And they're about to make their second change, the Melbourne Knights, with Luka Jurkovic about to come on. We'll see who he comes on for. It's going to be AJ Inia, the Knights goal scorer, who makes way. Cavallo finds Carpenter with the throw. Carpenter out for a goal kick. We'll go through some of the progress scores. Heidelberg, one thing we didn't mention as we broke for the halftime break was that Heidelberg did take a 2-0 lead. So at the moment, you've got to assume that those strikes from Sean Ellis and Alex Schiavo have given them the minor premiership. Port Melbourne have pulled the goal back against Andy City. Yuta Konagai, the goal scorer, after Zach Thompson and Brendan Shantalab gave Dandenong City a 2-0 lead. Other than that, it does remain unchanged score-wise. Matthew Fashini was the Oakley Cannons goal scorer, with Jordan Hall getting his marching orders. So that's going to be a bit of a blow for Green Gully in the first week of the finals. Dimi Hatzimaradis was the first goal scorer for Pascaval. We're yet to confirm who the second one was. And Heidelberg have just taken a 3-0 lead. So that, you'd imagine, would be that for the Burgers. Or no, they haven't. It's still 2-0. It must have been disallowed. Kingston City goal scorers in their game were Anthony Fio, Cooper Legrand, Alex Cornelia, and Damien Iaconis. So 4 different goal scorers, while Avondale's were Stefan Valentini and Scott Hillier. Jurcic. Here he goes. Good defensive work there by Desic, his former teammate. Done well to prevent a cross, but it'll still be waiting confirmation. See if it's going to be a corner kick or a throw-in. My first reaction was corner, and I think based on the movement of the players, no, it's going to be a throw-in, in fact. Long throw by Jurcic coming up. Cleared by Dover. Sewell. Punts it up long again. Mikulic. Jurkovic. Tried to find Sanchez. Couldn't. Here's Jurkovic. Breaks out here to Tadio. Tadio tries to cut inside. Carvalho slipped. Tadio to Sanchez. Here's Jurkovic. No. Thunder clearance only as far as Campbell. Back to Jurkovic, who goes to his brother. Jim said he had pulled the goal back. It is 4-1 there. Glovan. Tried to find one of 3 teammates, couldn't. Georgopoulos ends up with it here. Looks for Dover, but it was a bit over here. Gergic in possession. Good ball out wide to Mikulic here on the left. Mikulic. Couldn't find his man. And it breaks out here to Dover. He's only really got Barnes in support. And here's Jurkovic. Nikola, that is, on the ball. Try and play in Tadio, but Sheridan got his head in the way. Carvalho beats Campbell. Carvalho, he was fouled there, was he? Yes, he was. I think he got double teamed there by the 2 youngsters in Lachlan Campbell and Luka Jurkovic. Dandenong City are now 3-1 up. Ball comes in. It's almost broke there for Brandon Barnes. It's Carpenter. It's a foul on the Thunder winger, who himself has had quite a good season. Quick ball, quick free kick taken there by Carvalho. Found Dover, and he's won himself a corner kick there. Certainly Kieran Dover, one of Thunder's more regular starters / performers across the campaign. Had a good start to the season, as did the Thunder, winning 2 of their first 3 games. But since then, wins have been few and far between. It's Dover. Swings it in. Gergic got up highest. Mikulic is a nice breakaway on the cards here. Combines well with Sanchez. Here's Mikulic. Just held on to it a bit too long there, Caleb Mikulic. But Thunder themselves haven't given the ball away.
Just quite early to me, the little youngster Sanchez has been great since he's came on. As soon as he got the ball, good touch on him, plays forward, not afraid to take on the midfielder as well.
Yeah, he's definitely given him a bit of spark since coming on half-time, and you know he is quite young yet, but definitely one for the future. Another punt up long to Barnes, but Sewell got the ball away. Nikola Jurkovic to Jurcic. Definitely been a lot of brotherly love at the Knights in the last few years. Of course, Nikola and Luka, just a number of brothers that have featured for the club. That man who was just on the ball before, Luke Jurcic, of course, last year was joined by his brother Nicholas in the senior team. I wonder if the next few years we'll also see maybe a few of the Drizel brothers also partner up with their oldest brother Anthony at the club. So we see Campbell cross it in, but it was safely cleared, and Dover won back possession momentarily. And now Georgopoulos has done exactly that. On the ball here is Barnes. Can he make it 4? No. Took a touch off Gurgic and went into the path of Chakarun. Here's Campbell. Foot race here between Sheridan and Tardio. Tardio is second to it as Sheridan gets there. But it will be a fun to throw in, with Cavallo coming across to take this one. 72 minutes gone on the clock. As we said, the Knights about to bring their final substitution on. No, I think it's just Drizel's walking past the bench. Whether he does come on remains to be seen. Definitely, if they were to bring on Mohamed Awad, you'd think that they'd be searching for a goal or two, which would definitely make things interesting. But as it stands, Dandenong Thunder do hold the commanding position in this contest. But the Knights will get their opportunity here through a corner.
I'll be really wanting to test out the keeper since he dropped that one in the second half, at the start of the second half. Just put over on top of his head and see how he goes.
Let's see whether that will happen. It doesn't look to be the case, as it's went to the near post and it's been cleared away. Glavan goes back to Mikulic. Jurcic. Gergic is trying to get to it, and Kalamata did well to get a fist in there. The Knights hounding for the ball. It's going to be another long throw opportunity here for Luke Jurcic. As we have to contend with the sun here in the commentary box. So I do apologise in advance if we do get any player names wrong, as we see Jurkovic, Nikola getting the header across goal, and ultimately there was a foul call there as Mikulic kicked his effort in any case, went off target. Altona Magic do have a goal back. They reduced the deficit to 2-1, but as we've mentioned before, that game really is insignificant now, and Pasca Vale are going to be playing NPL 2 football next season. Sanchez does well to get it to Glavan, really well. Held off his more experienced man. And I guess that if you're a Melbourne Knights supporter who's looking to draw on positives from this campaign and get excited about something in the future, Felipe Sanchez is exactly one player that you can definitely be excited about. Campbell got to the ball first. Just one Knights goal will definitely make things a little more interesting. And I'm sure those at ABD Stadium are frantically hoping for one in the next few minutes as Nikola Jurkovic plays in Mikulic. Mikulic shoots. Well blocked there by Modifari. Nikola Jurkovic goes to Luke Jurcic. Back to Jurkovic. Goes in search of his brother. Luka couldn't find him. Knights will be back in possession here through Campbell. Luka Jurkovic to Glavan. It's going to be a fun to ball as Carpenter cleared it away. It took a touch off Glavan as Knights bring on their third and final substitution with Anthony Drizel about to come on. Looks like Nick Glavan is the man who's going to be making way. Bit of banter exchange there between Dover and Giselle. Another kick up long to Barnes, but he's offside this time. Referee hasn't seen it yet. Ultimately, it's paid. Just as Knights were in possession at exactly the same spot that Barnes was offside in, so worked out well there for the referee, who was considering playing the advantage until he realised that the Knights had played the ball back and there wasn't to be any advantage there. Bit of a hospital ball there by Nikola Jurkovic, but ultimately the Knights will still be back in possession because Thunder conceded it straight afterwards. Giselle to Gergic, now Sewell. Here's Dover. To Carpenter. He's done so well there, Carpenter. And ultimately, Ivan Gergic had to be the lifesaver there for the Knights as he cleared the ball away. 77.5 minutes gone on the clock. That sense of panic that the Thunder did experience earlier on in this half has dissipated following that third goal by Barnes. And you called it earlier on when you were speaking to me, Sermon. You predicted a Barnes hat-trick, and it's been exactly scripted like that so far. Who knows, maybe you can get another one or two to put the icing on the cake as the Knights attack. But a bit of a botched clearance there. Ultimately, Mehmeti is rescued by his goalkeeper, Kalamata, who has done well overall this afternoon. Did have that one heart-in-mouth moment, but as a whole, it's done quite well. Let's hope the commentator's curse doesn't strike. Giselle conceded possession. Barnes, hopeful. You can be sure that they'll be taking their time with that one in terms of retrieving it. Another attempted Knights attacks comes to nothing. There's Giselle now on the ball. Poor. Modifari easily heads it away. Plenty of men behind the ball there for Dandenong Thunder. Nikola Jurkovic in possession. Goes to Drizel. It's going to be a goal kick there. Despite there looking to be a touch bite of Thunder man. Nonetheless, the referee was closer to it, so we'll give him the benefit of any doubt there. One of the things that has been quite pleasing is that in such a high-stakes fixture that we haven't mentioned the referee's name too much. Usually a good indication of how well he's doing, the less you mention him. And Michael Marmus, I think, would be quite happy with his afternoon so far. As we go into the final 10 minutes here. One goal by the Knights will definitely make things interesting. But I don't think Dandenong Thunder and their supporters would want to go through the stress of having to hold on there. Progress scores remain unchanged since we last spoke. And Knights once more conceded possession. Carpenter to Dover. Couldn't get a touch on it. Nonetheless, he was offside anyway. Jurkovic goes back to Chakarun with Barnes. Running chase. Still. Just keeping hold of possession here, the Melbourne Knights. Can they do any damage from it? Drizel finds Luka Jurkovic. Jurkovic, just a bit of an overhit cross, looking to find Mikolic. It's at the feet of Desic. Desic. Got a touch there off Mikolic and will be out for a goal kick. Slip up there from the Thunder defense. Sees Mikolic on the ball. Luka Jurkovic. Here's Grgic. Nice flick there. Goal to Port Melbourne. It's 3-2 now in that one. Still in favour of the visitors, Dandenong City, who themselves had a slow start, but some solid mid-season recruitment has seen them climb up the ladder. Here's Campbell to Luka Jurkovic. He's kept it back in. And there'll be a fun to throw in there. As we are about to tick past 84 minutes here on the clock. Kingston make it 5-1. Not that it matters much as at the moment. Unless the Knights can fathom a remarkable late comeback. They need 2 goals to relegate Thunder and ensure, consequently, that Kingston end up in that playoff spot. But it doesn't appear to be the case, as we see a long shot taken there by Jurcic. Kalamata spilled it initially, but there was no one following up to collect it as Connor Cash is about to come on. So we see a Knights man down. Remember, they have made all 3 of their substitutions, so if he cannot continue on, they will be down to 10 men for the remainder of the contest.
If the scores do remain the same, looks like Danny Thunder might be breaking Kingston's hearts and then relegating them down to NPL 2.
Yeah, those two have shared a good rivalry over the last few years, and looks to be the case that we won't be seeing them playing up against each other for the 2020 season, if they will be in, of course, once they're in different leagues. It's always going to be the case heading into this final day. I think both teams have had quite underwhelming campaigns heading into the season. I know, some people were tipping Thunder at the start of the campaign to be a potential dark horse for the top 6, but poor results and also injuries haven't helped them. In fact, a number of long-term injuries, highlighted, I guess, by the absence of import Josh Bragg, as well as influential skipper Brendan Elmazovsky. But the one man, the most important man, Brandon Barnes, has been fit and firing for much of the campaign, and that's all they really needed to ensure their survival. Kingston themselves, quite a lot of disappointing results over the course of the campaign, particularly from games where they've taken leads, they've looked quite comfortable, haven't converted their chances, and ultimately it's come back to haunt them. They themselves have had a fair share of injury troubles as well. Think back to the first half of the campaign, and pretty much every week they had a new defensive 4 due to injuries. Didn't help that they also lost 2 players quite early on who returned back into state. Did seem to get a bit of a mid-season spark by Anthony Theo and his signing, but it's not worth much at the moment.
Yeah, I personally think Anthony Theo is probably one of the best signings Nick Tollers has done mid-season, coming from Dandy City, which he couldn't get into the team. Obviously, with the big names Dandy City signed, and credit to Tolsey, he saw something in him, and he got him and started him a few games. Came off the bench a few games as well, and scored, played well, and sustained his spot.
Knights on the ball here through Giselle to Campbell. Not moving it forward, which is something that Kingston wouldn't be too happy with. But again, I think if you ask any coach in this league, you don't want to leave your fate in other teams' hands come round 26. And that's been their downfall, as we see Nikola Jurkovic get fouled late on. There won't be any advantage here, and it'll be a set-piece opportunity for the Melbourne Knights. So we did close to 89 minutes. Be Campbell on the ball. Let's see how good the cross is. Not the best because Mehmeti heads it away. Giselle, Sewell. Careless pushing it back there by Giselle. Allows Thunder some respite, and it's going to be a few more seconds off the clock as we see they're about to make just a full official changing his board to indicate how much stoppage time there'll be, and I think there'll be 4 minutes based on what we can see. Carpenter's in here, chance to bury it. Chakarun did really well there. Got a leg onto it. What an opportunity there for Blake Carpenter to seal the 3 points. I don't think it's going to matter in the end, unless the Knights can do something in the final few minutes. Really, I'm going to say it's a bit surprising after they got that goal to claw it back to 2-1. They seem to have a lot of momentum, had the ascendancy, but haven't been able to really carve up any noteworthy chances since then. Of course, coming in today, they've, seemingly rested a few key players, the likes of Adrian Tardio and Joseph Franjic. Hamish Watson, we understand, is already back in New Zealand. Mohamed Awad did not come on, as the Thunder look to bring on their third and final substitution. You imagine this one's done with the purpose to also buy a bit more, waste a bit more time, really, with Sevdan Ismaili about to come on. So Connor Cass did well to guard the ball out for a goal kick. As we see Ismaili about to come on. And he will be coming on for Brandon Barnes. He will get a standing ovation from the home supporters, maybe even a few visiting supporters, because he's definitely been the difference this afternoon. I think even Kingston can appreciate just what a good player he is. And he does give the captain's armband to Sevdan Ismaili, who has been a long-standing junior with the club. Nikola Jurkovic gave away possession there to Desic, Georgopoulos, Cass. Sermon, as a former Kingston City player, I just want to ask you, Kingston City, whether they keep Nick Tolios or whether they don't, club's in a pretty good place to sort of recover, become a solid NPL 2 team and maybe even challenge for promotion once more next year or in the years to come?
Yeah, to me, all it depends on the players if they do stick around next year, because I do know they're a very, very tight group, but obviously NPL clubs will approach them, and it just depends if Nick Tolios and his all his players do stay together. If they do, I personally think they could get promoted again, but then again, it all depends on the players.
And ball shouts, it's a fourth, and there it is, Blake Carpenter puts the icing on the cake with a fantastically well-taken finish there by the South Australian. And that will be that. Dandenong Thunder 4, Melbourne Knights 1. Pounced on some defensive vulnerabilities there from the Melbourne Knights. And you've got to say that they have deserved it, given just how ruthless they've been in front of goal today.
Well, they've been really, really ruthless. They've had about 5 shots and scored 4. So they've taken their chances pretty well today, which they had to. And that's game over.
And that is that, as we were saying. Dandenong Thunder 4, Melbourne Knights 1. A Brandon Barnes hat-trick did the job. Blake Carpenter put the icing on the cake, with AJ Inier's goal being a mere consolation for the Melbourne Knights. It's a overall for Melbourne Knights, a bit of a what-if campaign. I think they would probably acknowledge themselves that they probably should have made a better run at the finals, given the good start that they had, but it wasn't to be. They did also have FA Cup duties to take care of, and on a positive note, they did make it through to the national round of 32, knocking over some really big teams in the process, including Avondale, in what is proving to be one of Victorian football's tastiest new rivalries to come out really the new meets the old there, really, with Melbourne Knights being such a powerhouse traditional club. But overall, I guess you can say for them, a season of what-ifs. For Dandenong Thunder, their season continues on with a promotion relegation playoffs spot in a few weeks to come at Amy Park in what will be a massive day of football here in Victoria, of course. Not only that, but you also do get the women's NPL Grand Final and also the men's NPL Grand Final in what will be an action-packed day of football. I've been Damir Kulash. I've been joined today by Sir Sedmin Sadakovsky, and thank you for having us.